Hello, everybody. This is your host, Mia. Thank you for tuning in and listening to another episode of the one and only SoulWave podcast. Enjoy. Hello, everybody. My name's Mia, and welcome back to part 2. I'm with my girl, Nicole.
Hello.
And we are going to finish what we started.
This is part 2 of our introduction episode.
Yeah,
Yet to be titled.
Yet to be titled. I think...
By the time it's out, it'll have a title, but we don't know what it is yet.
Untitled. Featuring Nicole Greco. But, so we left off talking about coming back from the Florida trip. We were patching things up within our friendship. And
2020, yes.
2020, yes. This is January 2020. So, February rolls around, and this isn't congruent to me and Nicole's story, but it's something I want to add. I got violently sick 2 days before Valentine's Day. And I look back at it now in the spiritual context, and that was a complete cellular ascension. When I tell you, I'm not the person to throw up when I'm sick, even, like, I don't really get the stomach flu. Let me knock on wood. It comes out the other way, honestly. It was just kind of, like, I don't know. I would rather that than throwing up constantly. But I was throwing up. I had, like, 105 fever. I had the worst body aches. And I feel like it hit me so hard because... completely off topic, but I fasted for 2 days beforehand. I was trying to kickstart myself into ketosis, and I wound up in the hospital for 2 days. I left on Valentine's Day, and then the following week, I was okay, but then I was Uber eating because we didn't have a job, and you were with me in the car, and I had the worst sore throat. And now that I think about it, here I am having a podcast, speaking my truth. It was all an upgrade. It was all me ascending and cellular shit, like, leaving. And I know it sounds bad, right? Like, you're ascending on a new level. Like, why is this terrible thing, like, sickness happening to you? But you have to purge out those old cells. And it was right before...
Keep the episode Why We Get Sick at
yes.
the SoulWave podcast.
Yes, throwing that fucking promo right there. Crazy. But that beginning of March, I came to Nicole and I'm like, dude, we should start a podcast together. And call it the SoulWave podcast. Because before then, me and Nicole actually started an Instagram page, which is not to be found anymore, called the SoulWave Sisters, where we were going to post spiritual content, do readings and shit.
And all that. And you know what? For the little time it was up, we did good.
Yeah, we had like 3 posts, but it was lit.
We had like a few posts, and we had actually some clients. I had people come to me about readings and like, yo, not to my own horn, but they were very pleased with what they received. And I'm happy. I'm happy that I could offer that services, yes.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. And then so March hits, I come up with this idea for a podcast, and then we get shut down, and here we are, the beloved COVID.
2020, March 2020. I have a little notes of right in front of me of stuff that I want to speak about, and I have
let it rip.
End of the world at Christine's house.
Oh my god. So get this, guys. So I said, if you listen to the beginning episode, which I highly recommend you do, because none of this shit's kind of going to make sense, but, I lived on the same block my whole entire life. I live on one corner of it, and then on the other corner is my dear friend Matt, and Nicole's boyfriend Matt had another house. Current boyfriend, yeah.
But at the time, this was not the case.
Yeah.
But we'll patch up those.
Yeah, we'll get in that.
Holes.
Yeah. But because we all grew up together and my parents were divorced, my mom was looking for a different place. She wanted to be closer to her kids because she was moving around a lot that time. She wound up living in the first floor apartment of that house, of Matt's house.
Yeah, where Matt lives.
And my mom and my aunt, Jen's mother, my cousin, they take a trip to New Orleans right as everything is getting shut down. And this was the time, right?
Yeah, I know. I think this was when they were about to start announcing the lockdowns. Like, they were prepping us for what's about to happen because they wanted to take drastic measures.
This was when me and Aunt came back from the hike. And we ate sausage, peppers, and potatoes.
Very specific. That's something I would do.
Because, you know why? Because Matt came down. He was like, I was going to eat dinner with you guys, but I heard we're cooking all the same thing. Because Michelle, his mother, was cooking.
Oh my gosh, that's too
sausage,
funny.
peppers, and potatoes.
With the time I'm remembering, your mom was there. I remember you asked me, hey, Matt's home. And the reason why he was home from college at this point was because this was when they were starting to send everybody home from schools. This wasn't when it was just the as we all thought it was gonna be, a 2-week vacation, the extended spring break.
Oh
right?
my God.
And
so naive to think that.
Right, and Mia was just like, "Hey, like, do you mind if Matt comes down?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I mean, like, he lives here, right? Like, he's right upstairs. Like, not like I'm not gonna be the person to say no." And at this point, I was just like,
"Let's do it."
And I was like, and so it is. And man, oh man, I mean, obviously we'll finish the rest of the story, but this is where the rest is just history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, take the floor as you will.
COVID hits, and as our rebellious nature is, we didn't feed into the fear of COVID. We managed to stay really close and connected during that whole entire time. We had each other.
We had our group chat. It started with the group chat with everyone who was in, I say everyone as if it was like a house party. It was literally only me, you, Matt, and another friend at the time.
We called ourselves the dirty blowholes because that night that Nicole was referencing to, we had
bottles.
And we were blowing
like
into them.
The old-fashioned, like if you think of like a Boylan's or a Coca-Cola, we had bottles like that. And
the root beer.
We were like blowing into it. And
making a little band.
Yeah, so it was the joke because like the everything got like dark and spooky at that time. Like recent history, we haven't seen anything like this. And we were just making fun of the situation. We were like, guys, like, we don't know when we're going to see each other again. Like, we were just having fun. Yeah. The last fun that, the last normalcy that, like, we knew at the time.
Yeah.
And
we had each other.
Yeah, we had each other. And then, just throughout COVID, like, obviously following the precautions, like, we would meet at a local park. We would all bring our separate cars and we would back them into a circle so the trunks would be facing each other. And then we'd all, like, sit at our trunks.
And one of us, normally me, because I'm just goated on the aux. If you also don't know, I DJ in my free time now. But I would be blasting music, and we would sit out there in the cold.
And brought his DJ set, and it was like a versus.
Yeah, 6 feet away, trying to maintain protocols, but we were still in each other's company.
We had like we were playing catch, whether it was like a football, we had a soccer ball, and it was just like a really big park, and we had skateboards, and we made the most. We made the most of it, and we had wholesome fun. Give me the brain cell, because that was the exact words I was gonna use. Like, wholesome fun. It was just like the stuff that like the inner child wants to do. It's like, you think of like adult fun, and it's like, oh, we're gonna go out drinking and this and that, and it's like those things are fun within moderation.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. I mean, I feel like I can't do that all the time.
No.
I really like doing like wholesome fun, like. Dude, I love going on drives. I love going on walks.
Yeah.
I still love playing ball.
Yeah, just hanging out.
Yeah, and that was when I wrote here, end of the world at Christine's house, like, well, that really was. It was like the end of the world outside, or it was about to be the end of the world, and
the apocalypse.
Yep, and we all were there, and we had each other, and like,
we really grew as a group during this time. Again,
I remember April. Honestly, like we didn't even see each other because we were all like locked in our houses. It was some very, 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 obviously the whole world experienced this, but on a personal level, within my house, like I lost 2 family members that lived with me. That was not that we were leaving our house anyway, but like when we went outside just for my mental sanity, even to just sit in my yard, like when I left my house and I passed the apartment, I just like remember looking back at the door and I holding back the tears, the chills I got. Eventually, going into the apartment, like, man, thank God I had you guys to lean on, because that was
blindsided.
Nothing that I had ever experienced yet at that point in time, and it was just, my goodness.
It was a lot.
That was a lot. A lot.
And so we all gained, I would say this is where the friend turned into family. And there was another person in the group who, unfortunately, we aren't as close as we used to, where I actually got really close to this person. And I'm just going to be blunt, why we're not that close anymore is because, we grow in different paths. And at the time, though, we were very much at the same level.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Me and this person, we went and we hung out, and a lot was shared in regards to drama within the group. And it was a big pivotal moment where me and this girl got really close. And I'm talking about this now because this is going to lead into something of the 2020 fall, where if you listen to the first episode, I mentioned that I had a connection with a kid, and I met this person through Nicole, and I felt really bad about the whole situation, but it happened. And more things were revealed about the issue, right? I don't even know what to call it. And
the big blip.
The big blip. And it was in that moment where me and this girl started to get really close, and I started to pull away from the group, because at the time, like, before I knew what I knew now, I was hurting and I didn't know how to trust. I didn't know how to speak about these things and or go to another person thinking at any time that this person would change or hear me out or understand where I'm coming from, because how I am hurting about it. So, should we fast forward through the summer? Because, I mean, we didn't really have summer. I was honestly, down the shore a lot.
Nothing really happened during that summer. Mm-hmm. I mean, we did what we could do within reasons of protocol, and, you know, we just... Honestly, I think I can say, I mean, this is what I peeped through, at least I can say the town.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like once it was that Memorial Day weekend, and, like, people were posting, like, actually being together when it was, like, really small gatherings. Like,
yeah.
That's when it became acceptable, right? So that we just started spending more time together outside of being separated in our cars at a park. And, like, we spent the summer together as a group.
Mm-hmm.
But then at some point in the summer, there was... division began.
A whole...
I would say
100%
it was
because...
that one weekend we spent at your grandpa's house.
Yeah,
but our families all live
the grandpa's house.
Your biological grandfather, but my grandpa by
association.
Yeah.
I also was working down the summer. I started to do Instacart, so I spent a lot of my time down the shore, away from my hometown where everyone was at. And that's where I started to ponder the idea of going full force with this podcast. And I was like, Nicole's not in the space at the moment to want to do this. I'm going to take this solo journey. So end of the summer hits, Nicole's birthday happens, and I start doing the podcast. And that's where a lot of shit started to just, the lessons sped up.
In completely different ways, because as COVID may have done to, I would probably say a lot of people, not many that I know of, but just in the grand scheme of things, to a lot of people, you know, when you start to spend time with a lot of people, when the end of the world hit, Matt and I were in the same place, and sure as shit, you know what happened next.
Oh, yeah.
You start talking some more, you keep on talking, next thing you know, you're texting every day.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the bright side is that during the summer, you know, Matt's basically home from school. He did finish from, you know...
He graduated that year.
Yeah, he officially graduated in May. We had
a really hot day that May 2nd.
Yep.
And we went
and
down the shore.
And I showed up in a whole, like, fit, and I was just like, wait, I thought we were dressing up, guys.
Yeah, no, and so, wait, this is really funny. We showed up down the shore to my grandfather's house to go to the beach, because now everything's opened up, and it was so hot. It was, like, 90 degrees, May 2nd. And so Matt just graduated from college. But
couldn't have an official ceremony or graduation at the school, because we're literally peak COVID at this point. So I remember the whole plan. Like, I remember Anne, Mia, and the other friend were like, okay, you need to distract Matt, because we're going to leave. We're going to get stuff for him. And then when we go down the shore, we're going to surprise him.
Yeah.
So they left me and Matt, the exes, together. But, like, at this point, it was so, like, the love is always, and will always be there, regardless. But, you know, it's just me and him, and I'm like, what's knowing, like, what you guys are doing in the meantime, and I'm like, let's talk about music. And I went on a whole tangent about Sunrise by Greco, which is, like, one of my favorite songs of all time. Probably, literally top 3. Not even probably. Literally top 3 ever, of all the music ever.
Wait, so what are the other two in there?
Other two, I have no idea. I'm just making a hypothetical list.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, wait a second.
No, I have no idea what the other two would be, but Sunrise is up there. Mm-hmm. And I'm just spin. I'm just like, you know why Sunrise is one of the best songs of all time, like just going off. And honestly, it was half distraction, so he wouldn't peep like why you guys were leaving or anything that was happening. But like the other half, I was just like, yo, you gotta listen to me right now about my tangent about this song. Yeah. I was actually going off. But it was funny and very wholesome to me that he had no idea.
No, he didn't. And we couldn't do much. So what we did, we popped the trunk in my car. We got a cake that said congrats, and we got
him champagne. He was 21, so he enjoyed that.
Yeah,
and then my brother too. My brother was 21 at the time.
Congratulations! I was about 3 days away. No, 8 days away from turning 21.
You were out. You were.
And we were in some random street dead end, making sure like there was no. Like, anybody could see us, pop the trunk, and just, like, surprise them. And it was really fun because, like, it was so simple.
It was so simple, but it was, like, the best thing we could have done at the time. And I was going to say if you know Matt. Well, yeah, if you do know Matt, he's a very, very simple guy. And you can tell, like, oh, my God, definitely one of the most wholesome and, like, best things.
That was
like,
good.
One of the best gestures that's ever been done for him. And that warmed my heart that we were able to do that for him.
Yeah,
I know for a fact whenever, like, this comes up, like, when we talk about that or see the videos from it, he's just, like, he gets very, like, oh you guys. And I'm just, like, I'm so happy. That makes me so happy.
The SpongeBob puppy dog guys.
Literally. Yeah, but, like, no, through the summer, we start chatting and we start actually having...
real conversations about.
I was gonna say caught me by surprise to have these, but you know what? I'd be lying because we both know the connection that me and him share on our worst terms and on our best terms. It is a soul connection on another level, out of this world, out of this universe.
Pride aside, we'll always ride. What? Put that on a fucking t-shirt. Are you kidding me? That was off the dome right now. Write that down.
I'm writing quickly. Yeah, through the summer, I remember asking Matt, was this plotted? No, but also at the same time, maybe. I
manifested.
Just so happened, to ask him, like, if he ever had a dream date. Genuinely curious. Because I know, like, if you ask me, like, what's a dream date, I always would just imagine, like, at the beach, not, like romantic at the beach, kind of like the 5 p.m. type of sun where it's like the sky could get like orange and like the sun's not as strong.
Beautiful organic colors that Mother Earth does all on its own.
So I told him and I asked him and he was just like, like I never really thought of it. I'm not sure, but like what you said sounds like really nice. And then like, within I bring this up to him all the time. Within the next few messages, he goes, so what day are you free to go to the beach? And literally I was just like, oh, what am I getting myself into? And I was like, so I'm free this day.
Yeah.
And dude, like, I'm again, Cancer rising, I'm nostalgic. I talk about past stuff all the time in a really fond way. Like, I have such good memories of a lot of things, and I just, when the conversation comes up, I'm just like, Matt, I'm not even gonna front. Like, sometimes when I'm talking to him and I say bro, I'm just like, yo, we're friends too. You really?
Yeah.
I talk to him and I'm like, bro,
dude.
I say that too.
Yeah.
Or I say sometimes if I'm telling him T, I go, he gets a girl. I'm like,
girl,
guess what?
Bitch, let me tell you. Listen, if you can't do that with your partner, are they really your partner?
You're right. I said, like, Matt, we did the damn thing. When I tell you we had the most soul-bearing conversations, this was probably when I learned feel the fear but do it anyway on a romantic sense, because I was so scared to have these conversations. This was a person that I had felt, coming from the ego, that I had felt hurt me so significantly and so drastically twice in the past, and I, spilt my soul, I guess, is the best way to put it, and I'm, like, in front of him crying and, like, telling him my fears, and I'm scared of this and that, and when I tell you, we took it day by day, and next thing you know, oh my God, we joke about this all the time. You probably hear us say...
Why you can't ask him out, like, why he can't ask you out during certain days?
Oh, no, that's
okay.
True. Certain, like, you got certain better months other than other ones. Like,
I agree.
Right? But that's not what we were talking about at the time. Actually, I completely forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay. We can take a second.
It'll come back to it.
So I'm going to read something real quick from the archive. Back when I had my Finsta, I posted a bunch of paragraphs that I was just writing. I took inspiration from other people that just came to me. I'm going to read a few real quick. One of them they all pertain to this conversation, but right now I want other people to hear. Goes like this. And the best decision I ever made was to promise myself I'll have all the conversations I did not want to have, because those are the conversations that matter. And I decided to never hide my words, because hiding them means hiding me. And I am no longer a slave to my fears and opinions of others. And then there's another thing that I wanted to just put out there for the people of the podcast to ponder. Would you take the risk on love knowing you could be hurt again? That's a good one.
I remember having all these conversations with you, because the more the summer went by, I was just like, I don't know what to do. It's starting to look, we're getting really close. We're getting really, really close again. Almost looking at it now, it was an inevitable closeness. And I remember you sharing, if not that exact thing, something very similar.
I'm going to share another one that actually, this is the one you told me. It was like, this made me think of this, the relationship. And I wrote this when I was completely in love with the wrong person. Yeah, not even the wrong person. It was meant to be for the time, but it didn't last, and the love is still there, but not the same. I wanted a forever with you, not just your memories. Even the demons
I remember this
inside of me fell for you. God made you for me, and we keep denying it. Don't deny it. We are already connected. Like our faint lines, our futures are inseparable. Our love is written to not get faded. It is written on the walls, not the fragile pages. You and me are meant to be. If we weren't, why do you think after walking miles bare feet to the roads, to the empty streets, the dark forests, fighting waves and winds, overcoming my fears, overcoming our fears, we still find a way back to each other? Why we never stayed away even after everything? Why I still come back after you slam the door in my face? Why you even come back after you say it suffocates you, our love? Because we're meant to be. We keep denying it, we get scared, we act immature. We don't want to accept that we are each other's ends. We are too young. We think love is not for us. Denying will take us nowhere. So let's just settle for a while. And let's take what life has for us. Let's live and don't say no to it. Accept the imperfect, full of flaws, raw love as it is.
Yeah. I remember that, and I reread it a few times. And, I think I would say after that, I'm just going to call it this, the beach date. It 100% was the date. We went for, like, a dinner after that, and it was just us, and it was actually really romantic the whole day, and I was just like, oh, what's happening? Yeah, no, I remember that, and it stuck very... It resonated.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me not
try It totally does.
Yeah,
well,
it resonated.
In two different senses. I was in a place where I thought I knew what love was, and I saw someone that I wanted a forever with. But recently, in the last few years, I come together and realize that love is not enough sometimes. You need a person that is going to understand you and hear you and see you and can be there consistently and not inconsistently, to show up in those hard moments and face it guns blazing by your side, because it's not a me versus you, it's a us versus it.
And that's a hard one to learn, because even when you're fighting with someone,
it's that ego.
It feels like such a one-on-one, and you have to learn it's not a one-on-one. Even to this day, I still struggle with that, because I'm like, how do you face something with someone against an intangible? Like, an argument is most likely over an action or words or something, and those things are not tangible. Whereas, like, if you're fighting, like, oh my god, I hate the color of this wall, why would you do it? Like, okay, you can repaint it. That's something tangible, right? But, like...
to both be seen?
Yeah.
It's...
And that whole summer, man... It was like each day that went by, we grew closer and closer, and we continued those tough conversations, and we slowly but surely loosened those boundaries with each other and became stronger together. It became more of like all right, I'm going to start, I'm sorry, let me phrase, I'm going to stop seeing other people, like, going on dates and whatever, like...
I'm in it.
Yeah.
I'm in it now.
Yeah, like...
I want you, and I want this to work out. Even in the moment, I can't express that because the fear is so real.
Yeah, and right around the end of summer, past my birthday, when it was our other friend's birthday that we had, that was a very solidifying thing. That's when the big blip started. Yeah. The fact that I just completely, like, spit that, like, the big blip. No, it's going to be referred to that.
The big blip. That's fine. Let's do it.
Yeah, so our other friend, it was her birthday in September, but we ended up, because of how the dates fell, we had a really, really big outside party, pool and all that, lovely event for her birthday. And one of the small things I can say about the time, like at the relationship that was bound to happen, was Matt knew I was feeling down and out about life at the time for specific reasons. And he came back from spending the night down the shore with you guys. Yeah. And he came back with a stuffed animal for me. It was a giraffe. Yeah. And he came back all happy, and he's like, "Look what I got for you. What should we name it?" And I was just like, dude, it is the little things. I still have it to this day. His name is Joffrey.
You say it with such shame. Own it. It's your child you're talking about. The first born. Can I just say, I've known Matt my entire life. I've known him the longest out of anybody I know other than my brother and my parents, right? And then getting so close with you where I will literally call you my sister. I will call you up for anything. I come crying to you in my moments of despair where if you know me, when I talk about it on the podcast, dude, that's something hard for me to do. I don't like being that vulnerable. Like, I'll share my stories, I'll talk about my moments, but that's after the fact. For someone to see me during it, it's hard. Just to put an example of how deep me and Nicole's connection go, and to see them both individually and then come together as a relationship, it's so, so inspiring. It brings tears to my eyes because as someone who struggles in love, someone who struggles to keep the faith and at times gets desperate, because if you look up the definition of desperate, it says hopeless, where I think, man, I don't know if I'll ever find that. And just to know that there's other people out there that will continually show up to each other, where the love goes so deep within its boundaries, you know. And I can say confidently there's never been a cross of boundaries. It's more of an internal personal struggle where it's their own ego versus their own head. It's beautiful. I hope you guys get to witness a love that they share, because, like, the strength that these two have, there's no other words. There really isn't, Nick. And I just have to hats off, because in the next chapter of this, where I go into our personal stuff, it was a time where I feel like we were just the most pettiest we could be.
Oh, yeah. Guns a-blazing.
Yeah, no, swear. Like, there is a point where we'll get to in the story where I never thought there was a possibility where me and Nicole were going to be friends again. Like, the thought 100%. Of it was completely shut down. But to see how she shows up for the people that she rides for, it's...
Taurus 11th house. I'm there. I'm there.
No, my mascara is making my eye burn, and now I'm crying. Right. Sure. Who cut the onions? I just have to shout out. I love this girl, guys. She is one of a kind. Yeah.
Stop, you gonna make my head big.
No, seriously. And like, we all have our own internal struggles. We all think that we're too much, that we have, especially when you know what we know. Like, we've learned a lot of psychology over the years, not because we chose to go study it, but it shows us.
This literally, I feel like it goes hand in hand with the spirituality.
Exactly.
That
it shows up in this journey. When you want to talk about manifestation and you want to manifest something you're worthy of, it starts with going inside and taking a look at the mirror and cleaning the dirt off.
Right.
And realizing that you have this inner child that so desperately needs to be heard, that sometimes the way it thinks it's going to be heard is by projecting its pain in those cold shoulder moments, right? But to actively stop that, let me tell you right now, if you know that's not easy. Healing in itself is a contradiction, because healing isn't sunshine, rainbows, and flowers. No. Healing looks like
never linear. It's never linear.
Yeah, like crying yourself to sleep every night because you realize, damn, like I am the actual problem, which leads me into, let's say, October.
The fall, yeah. So
the fall after that summer.
What really comes to the end of me and Matt, I was gonna say tragedy, but you know damn well this is not a tragedy. October 11th, 2020. We were bored one day, and we were like, no, I swear to God, this is how it happened. We were hanging out, and there was like a mini golf thing that we always wanted to try that was a little bit outside of our area. So we're like, with COVID and stuff, like we don't know if it was open or not, and we were like, all right, whatever, like let's just go do it. So we went down there. Unfortunately, the place was closed.
Where'd you guys?
It was
down
south? It was
Monster Mini Golf?
Yes.
Love that place.
Yes.
$10, bro?
But we never went in because it was closed at the time.
We should do that tomorrow.
Alright. Alright, let's do it.
We got plans finally. We've been thinking all day. What the hell are we gonna do tomorrow?
And it was closed. And then it was just like silly because
loser has to buy ice cream.
Man, I should have said that. We're like 3 years too late. But so we pull into this parking lot. I think his like blood sugar or something was going low. So we pull into this Wendy's. He grabs something. There's deer like literally in front of us. I try and get out and pet them, but they ran away. They ran away. I was like, all right, whatever. I see so many videos, people getting to pet the deer. I guess today's not my day.
Not it.
So we're sitting around. We're like, man, what is there to do? Because this is still the time when like everything's closing or closed
early.
Indefinitely too, because like so many places were closing.
Lost business.
You didn't know when they were coming back, if they ever were. And he was like, I have an idea, because I said something as a joke, because at this point we knew where like the relationship was going, and I was just like, oh, maybe you can ask me to like be your girlfriend, like if you like you want to date. And then he looked at me, because it was something like we had joked with each other about for a few weeks at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then he looked at me, like, gave me the look, was like, the eyes and all that. Didn't say a word, drove away. We went to the same lot that the Monster Mini Golf was in, because there was a shop right there.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'll be right back. Literally, when I tell you the kid ran. The kid ran in, and I sat in there, and I was just like, I know what's about to happen.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I did this, like, I said it so spontaneously, half as a joke, but like half serious.
Yeah.
And he comes out with a big bouquet of red roses and baby breaths.
Those are my favorite. Yeah, those are so timeless.
Yeah. Mm. The red, when you get someone red roses, it means love.
Yeah. Yeah. Romance, passion. Yeah. Oh,
nut. So he has these, and like basically was just gave me the whole spiel about like the whole summer, and he was just like the whole, there's no one else I'd rather be with. I'm not gonna put the whole thing out there, but it was a heartfelt, I could say a little speech. And pop the question, but not the question.
No, not yet.
The former question.
Yeah.
No, not former.
The
prerequisite question.
Yeah, the prerequisite.
The prerequisite.
And so October 11th.
October 11th.
2020. You guys have been together since.
Have been together since, and when I tell you every single thing that I've shared on this podcast so far, like the whole story, obviously it's a way longer story because there's so many intricate details that entail to it.
You know what? That's for you and your relationship.
Yeah, 100%. Not everything's meant to be shared. There's a lot of things I like to keep private about it, just for the sake of keeping it sacred.
Intimacy,
Yeah, and love. Dude, it was one of those, like, it was bound to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, inseparable. And this is truly, honestly, out of as long as I've known him, and this December will be 9 years that I met him. December 5th. This year will be 9 years.
2023.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, we have 9 years, and out of the whole time that I've ever known him, and, like, whenever we have officially dated, this has been the strongest, most intimate, oh God, let me just toot my horn, like fairy tale of a relationship.
I love that so much,
and let
Nick.
me just say, let me add this side note. I had told him back in the fall this year, 2022, I should say, after we had passed our 2 years, I said, hey, no pressure, but I'm just going to say April 12th specifically. I told him, I was like, if you got something to say, if you need to, go on a break or break up, you got to say it now, because April 12th officially marks the longest we've ever officially dated. Because when we officially dated from 15 to 17, the 2015 and 2017, it was 2.5 years. And by the dates,
you guys were so fucking young.
We were.
Man, Jesus.
And by the dates this time around, April 12th
will be a day before after that.
I think pretty much would be like literally the longest we've ever been together.
Wow. I can't wait to see you guys just like grow old together.
Me too. We send each other memes, whether if it's like an old couple or like an animal that's like paired together, like two animals, I should say, and we're like, that's us.
I can't wait for everyone to get that, because man, as I said before, it's so inspiring. Like, it keeps me going. Sometimes when you like struggle with love, it's like, what the fuck, bro? Where am I gonna get that? But and it's time, because nothing good comes easy, and you guys have worked on it.
Nah, man, that's the truth of it. This is one of the most worthy things I've ever had in my life, and that it's been the hardest.
Matt, you hear this? I think she likes you.
Maybe just a little bit.
Okay, so
that's the end of the me and Matt story. It's just like I wanted to introduce that because that's a huge part of just my life in general.
And not for nothing, I think the gang.
100%.
Because like we also experienced.
You guys, we're like the mom and dad.
Yeah, no, literally.
Yeah, no, like we've been together what feels like forever.
Yeah.
We're like mom and dad, and like just as individuals, like we have our own space as individuals. Yeah, and you outside of being a couple.
Nicole, he is Matt, and like is multifaceted for 100%.
100%. And I wanted to share that whole story because
I'm glad you did.
It ties in with like the whole me and Matt been friends forever. How I met Mia through Matt, our obstacles we faced individually and as a couple, and butterfly effect. I'm big on the butterfly effect. As nostalgic as I am, I always bring in like, oh my God, do you see how this one thing we did, hanging out in a basement one day, leads to
backyard
4 years.
Thing.
4 years later, we're in your studio and recording this together. Big on that, and that's why I wanted to include all the details.
Dude, and not for nothing, like. Yeah, I put the podcast out for everyone to hear because I think, they can pull shit from it. I really believe that. I think I was reading The Secret Hidden Teachings of the Universe or something like that. I'm going to pull up this real quick. This picture I took of it because, let me just find it. To be able to share things like this and go through our own lessons in life and to accumulate wisdom and then share it, it's an opportunity. It's a blessing.
100%.
And the first page of this book says, before he could be entrusted with the divine powers of the mind and will, he must accept knowledge as a responsibility to his creator and his world rather than as an opportunity for advancement of personal ambitions.
Remember you sent me that? And I was just like...
Dude, it hits the nail on the head because, this is the whole basis of it. But then also at the same token, why I bring it up is like, it's a huge part of our lives. Like, you can't even deny it. People like... We're going through these twisted teas right now, like enjoying ourselves. And
what a good analogy.
I know, right? This trash is filled up.
Me and twisted teas.
That's a whole other podcast.
Story. That's a whole other love story, man.
And it's like, no matter how much you want to deny that this person either was in your life for a day or almost 9 years, like they're part of your life. And pull 100%. From it. You gotta acknowledge. Lick your wounds.
You gotta discern superficial love and temporary love or affection or attention to real love. And me and him, however our love story turns out to be in the future,
It's a love story, baby, just say yes.
We'll always be such profound love and respect, and
they're going to be pulling on this in the textbooks years from now. When we're gone.
Feels like that.
Yeah, right?
Feels like that. It just honestly feels like we did everything right. Our story's like perfect. So perfect.
Including the downs, because those are the number one.
Oh, yeah.
That's what
honestly,
the foundation builds off of.
You know what the downs came out of? Like, the 2019, really, when we weren't really speaking that much, it led me to you guys. And I feel like if I was gang, I feel like if I was in a relationship at the time, I just would have been full in that.
Yeah.
And at this rate, it's led me to have both a great individual social life. I see my girls. I have my girls' nights. And then I have the group nights when we're all together. And then I have date night. Yeah. I have it all. And it's taught me balance and a million other things. Yeah. And
it's beautiful.
Yeah. You really got to put that pride aside if you got to discern that genuine love, like I said.
The quantity versus quality.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I would rather go through hell and back with him than have it easy with someone else.
Agreed. Because that's just where intimacy and connection occurs, is in the depth.
Yeah. And that was only the part where we were figuring out how and if we should be together. We still go through shit up and down. Like, I remember. Of course,
no relationship is just easy going.
Yeah, when he moved away out of here, like, that was hard. That was so hard, but that was
just another speed bump.
That was, how do we navigate that? Well, that was more me. To him, it was just like, it's literally nothing. Yeah. But me, like, I got to panic first before I even figure out how to do anything. To me, that was a big deal. And
it's like Gemini moon.
100%, man. And, at this rate, spoiler alert, the move had absolutely no effect on us whatsoever. No. Just had to panic about it first.
Of course, as we do.
Yeah.
But
so the rest of fall of 19, it becomes more personal between Mia and I. The Matt stuff is... The story, it's not done, but, this part of the story of how to be together, we're together and we're happy. Yeah, that's the story.
So, that birthday party Nicole mentioned, I wound up driving back down the shore by myself, and I was just really in my bag. I wonder what the astrology was during that time, but I remember just seeing them together at the party. I'm like, dude, I want that. I want a person to do that with, and I wound up hitting up this kid, the one that already caused so much of a strife between me and Nicole. I was such a simp, bro. Guys, guess what I did? I wrote a letter, a handwritten letter, and I dropped it in this guy's mailbox because, I don't know, I guess that's just the Pisces moon of me. And we wound up patching things up and trying to rebuild the connection on a friend basis. And keep in mind, this is when I'm also starting my podcast. So in this moment, it's like, I want you in my life, even if it's a friend. But now I have something bigger that will be always a first priority. Because this is my child, this is my baby, this is something I'm passionate about, and I think someone's passion should always be supported by another person. And not that it comes priority over your relationship or your partner, your lover, but that needs to be taken into account. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. And so during this time, I was planning a group trip to Six Flags, and I invited Nicole, but...
Enter the big blip.
Yeah. This was, I guess, not the best road for us to travel because it caused a lot of unfinished business to come up.
So now officially, Matt and I are together, and I'm on cloud 9. But, the fresh part of the relationship where it's, boundaries are still very high. You don't want to cross anything. We just worked so hard to make this what it is. I don't want to do anything to mess it up. And,
right.
This person was part of my life at points, friendship-wise, at some points, romantically. And I was trying to discern if it was worth having him around just in the same group. And, when you told me, okay, these are the people who are going to be going to Six Flags, and I saw him, and I was just like...
I'm off it.
It was like, if he's there, I'm not there. Nope, Matt before any of that nonsense,
And...
respectfully, I'm not going if he's going.
Yeah, I took it really personally, because I'm like, damn, I get you guys have your issues or whatever, and you don't want to be around each other, but this isn't going to be someone... in my life, I need you guys to work it out. And I really I chose a side here, and I will admit it, I chose the wrong side. I rode for someone who, in the moment, I was like, we're stable, we're cool, we got a foundation. But before I knew better, it was so rocky. Like, I didn't have the knowledge I had today where I talk about, like, being seen, being heard, the consistency and showing up for each other. Like, it was surface level, and it was always not on my end, but on the other end. And it wasn't said, but you can feel it. Like, I will be putting myself first before I put you first. And, like, as much as somebody says, I love you and I care about you, sometimes that only goes as far as they go. And you have to be realistic about situations when it comes to, especially, like, romance and love, and you look at someone in these lights and you have these feelings for them where it's like, is that on the level that you want? Are you settling now? But in this moment, I was, like, head over heels, ready to continue a friendship with him, me and him versus the world. And me and Nicole got into this huge fight.
Dude,
huge paragraphs that went on for a
Bible
week.
length.
Yeah.
Swear to God, we were sending messages to each other. I wouldn't say it was like for the length of a week, but I felt like it went on a few days where the messages, they were so long. Like, if you have an iPhone, you have to click
on it
to open it.
Yeah.
And
those took hours to write out and respond.
And to, like, I don't really save, really, like, a lot of things on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
If I know if it's important, it saves to my other Apple devices. And I think I still have those messages on my other devices. And when I go through the archives of my stuff, trying to clear stuff up, make space, and I come across stuff like that, dude, like, old videos, photos, messages, they hold so much energy, and they hold so much, obviously, emotion. I can't even, I see what it is, and I just click off the screen. I'm like, I cannot even bear to read this stuff. It is so...
Wait, pause. Do you still have those messages? Because I don't think I do, but for old time's sake, I would love to just read through them.
I think
if you do, and then I think we should, like,
find them,
mutually either keep it, because maybe one day we'd want to look back on it, or, like, delete them together.
Yeah.
Because I want to see the headspace.
Yeah.
The headspace we were at. So, yeah, and that was the end of our friendship there, where I chose a side. And let's fast forward, me and this kid's connection ended very shortly again, where it was, like, just evident that this isn't going to work out right now, if not ever. And me and Nicole aren't friends. I'm not close with her brother anymore. I'm not close with Matt because of just, like, sides are chosen, kind of. And it was very petty.
At that rate, it still stood. I told Matt, for, like, you know, whatever reason, if you see me or her family, I'm like, dude, I will still stand by this. That was your friend first.
Yeah, and
your families are friends. Please don't feel weird or awkward if you're around her, because still, that is not my space to
and so you
intervene on that.
You had a Halloween party, and it was right before everything kind of cut ties, but we were there, and he pulled me to the kitchen. He even told me that too, and again, so blinded. I didn't take anything personally, but it just felt so wrong to be, like, hanging out with him or, like, hanging out with Aunt, so I just cut everything off, because I was also feeling that too, like, y'all are together, I'm not going to put anyone in that awkward stage. And so now I'm going at life alone. I got one friend, not talking about the kid, but this previous girl we mentioned, where we got really close, but I feel like it was such a faulty foundation. I look back and it was a very codependent relationship,
which ultimately led to the end of me and her as well friendship. Because she was someone I've known for years. Well, let me just say it wasn't that alone. At the time, because we did down the line talk about a lot of things, that was one of the reasons I was like, bro, you should have had my back. Yeah. Not for nothing, but that was a really big disappointment for me. But that's the route that you guys went down. And then you go first, and then I'll say my piece.
Right. So in terms of, like, growing in separate paths, and why I say it was codependent, because before we had any sense of self-respect, before I am the woman I was today, I wasn't, right? And we would feed off that each other, and we wouldn't hold each other accountable to doing the right things for us and doing the hard things, like what meant walking away from people that treat us like shit, specifically guys. And because I would make a decision to contact someone who clearly wasn't best for me, but in the moment I'm like heart over head, right? She would do it too, and now we're both just down and out crying over guys in our bag, and it wasn't okay until one of us took the stance to be like, where I took the stance, like, listen, I can't, like, I need to heal right now. Before I even got to that part of our friendship, though, I wound up fast forward, so me and this guy aren't good. A couple other things happen. This is towards like March and April that really, really, I lost all sense of self and dignity. And for another podcast episode, I'm still trying to figure out the words to explain what happened to me. And then my birthday comes around, and I'm like, fuck it. I'm not going to let a guy get me down. I'm in the stage of, like, my life where you can't let them see you down. You know, I was even in this moment, like, still using Nicole as motivation. I'm like, I'm going to get big. I'm going to flex on her. She's going to wish she knew what she lost out of. And everything was projection of pain. And that's where all these podcast episodes that are no longer up, I put out. And then I look back and I deleted because I'm like, dude, like, you were spitting wisdom and sharing the stories, but you were doing more harm than good. And, like, I don't ever want to look back and have those memories or think about those times because it was such a down and out time. A month later in June, me and Nicole still aren't good. I have this other friend at the time. I'm not talking to that kid anymore. I'm moving on with life, still doing me. I'm putting all my energy into the podcast. I'm getting my Reiki certification. I'm doing better. I tear my ACL for the 4th time. And as you hear me talk about on the podcast, frequently that sent me into a spiraling psychosis, anxiety, depression, body dysmorphia, eating disorder. It was such a hard time and I was so alone. Even this girl I had on my side, I felt like I couldn't go to the trust and speak. And also, on top of that, I didn't know how to talk about my feelings. This was before I even could tell you what I was feeling, what emotion was occurring, and it was just a whole lot. And then eventually, when I started to seek help, when I started to go to my spiritual mentor / therapist, I got a grasp on things and I realized, like, there are certain relationships that I can't be around anymore that aren't good for me. But actually, during this time where I was experiencing this psychosis, maybe like 2 weeks after I tore my ACL, where shit was just heightened. So, like, I'm experiencing paranoia to the max, where I think that the devil's coming after me, right? That I smoke every day and I'm having these terrible spiraling thoughts. I can't trust anyone. Nicole actually winds up hitting me up in the middle of June.
Yes, ma'am.
And
so, with that part with May, I remember being at a battle. I would feel like that January when we had a retrograde, I know I started to get a lot of dreams, and I tried to just, at that point I was just brushing them off. These dreams don't mean anything. You see the memes all the time about when you have dreams and they're just
a Spanish speaking cow.
Yeah, some silly, like, what is going on type of thing. But these dreams were very prominent, whether you want to call it placebo, it's just a dream, or, you know,
prophetic.
Prophetic or premonitions or whatever. I woke up feeling a lot of things, very heavy things, not necessarily in a bad way, but I felt a lot of things very heavily. And for months I battled back and forth with, like, at the time it was in the back of my head where, like, yo, Mia and I had at the time was a short friendship, because we had only met 2019, and then by 2021, at that time, it was over. It was done with.
It was 2020. Yeah, it was like a year and a half.
Yeah, so, like, by 2021, we were done. We didn't even go into the year speaking to each other. And, you know, it was just on the back of my mind for a while, for months, because I was like, man, the memories that we shared, the shit that we did together for such a short amount of time, like, it's not sitting right, but I was battling with, hey, not everything's meant to be forever. Some people are just meant to be in your life for a period of time. And I kind of took it as that for the time being. And then I'm at a restaurant with my mom and my brother, and the conversation comes up. And my mom and aunt, they're kind of like egging me on. They're like, just do it. And let me just say, because we've talked about this before, how our moms were just like, so simple. Well, have you thought about just reaching out to them?
No, literally. But we're in our head like, no.
It's just like, no, Mom. It's so different. You don't understand.
Nope. But let me tell you, I swear to God, I hate to admit this, they're always right.
Moms know best.
Yes.
Like they say, moms know best. And that is the route I took. End of June, I texted Mia, and I was just like, hey, honestly, I don't even remember what I said.
You were like, you want to talk? Can we have a conversation?
I think we should just, let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even at the rate of, let's talk this out, let's be friends again. It was, let's just have a conversation. Yeah. And we met at the end of June at our local park. There you go. A local park. And we got into the car, and I started it off because I had a lot of things on my head at first, and I just
let it rip.
I let it rip, man. I was just like, I want to say, like, I'm really big on the energy and the boundaries, and the first thing I apologized for was for taking you off and your friends off of, like, all social media. I want to let you know that first and foremost, your friends and family, whoever I had on there that I took off, it was not personal whatsoever to them. It was just a connection thing. It's like, if I'm not friends with Mia,
what's the point of having my mom on Facebook?
Why? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, why would I have your mom, and then I see you posted up with her, and then, like, I see that, and it's just like
brings
flashbacks.
You down.
Yeah, like, it made me.
I totally get it.
Sad in a way, not sad to see you having a good time, but sad to see you, like, out there knowing, like, we're not friends. And it was just like that constant reminder, and that was the first thing I went saying in the conversation. And then I went to right after that, like, in regards to taking you off everything, and I was just like, dude, quite honestly, it was the same reason I took you off everything, but it was on a personal level. I felt like if we were never going to speak again, just having that connection on social media, which truly is just an extension of your life and really, like, the highlights of your life, like, I couldn't see that. I didn't want to see it.
I agree.
Not on the terms of, if you're going to be happy, it should be with me. Not on those terms. Just, like, it was just sad to quite honestly just watch and to see you knowing that we weren't friends. It was really sad to me.
I totally get it, because nowadays I do that too with, like, people that I've just fallen out with. It's like, I don't need to see this. Like, it's a reminder of where we're not. When when we built these futures together, now I have to watch them crumble.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I started off with, and I just I really, quite honestly, I can't really remember much that I said in that conversation, but I know that I apologized for any pain or wrongdoings that happened, probably within the intricate details that we didn't even share, that, like, we didn't even think of to include in this. I mean, we're probably at, like, a really long episode.
Yeah.
I didn't even think to include in this episode.
Just our fights and, like, what had happened.
Yeah,
but I
like,
can say
to clear a lot of shit up. Be like, hey, this night, I want to be honest with you. This is what happened. At the very, very least, you deserve to know the truth and what was happening at this moment. And that's what I truly felt that I owed to her. At the human decency level, I know a lot of people operate on, like, well, I don't need anybody. I don't need this and that. And, like, on a factual level,
you got so much pride in the way when you think like that.
On a factual level, like, could you exist without anybody? Probably, but it's a very
self-righteous path.
It's self-righteous, and honestly, it's sad, like, to think about going your day-to-day without hugging someone or telling someone you love them or
sharing a meme that reminds you of them. 100%. Yeah, no, totally. I felt the exact same way, too, leading up to until everything happened to me, like the ACL tear, the traumatic shit that happened in April to me, but like, truth be told, Nicole came out of the gate swinging. Like, I was not expecting her to just own up in the way she did. Especially because I knew her in the past, and, like, we would both feed into those little petty things of just, like, edging people on.
Got petty.
Yeah, like, but I'm not even, like, not even talking about, like, us, but just how we acted back then. Because, like, I wasn't who I am now. Like, I would do shit to instigate other people. Like, that's just real, bro. I'm not no saint. And unfortunately, at the time, I was in no space to be taking on another friend, especially after everything that happened. I couldn't even trust myself. I couldn't even tell you that in the moment. I was so fucked up. And, like, I feel bad for me at the time. Because I hate even saying, like, how fucked up she was, because now I look back and I'm like, I'm so grateful everything happened. I wouldn't do it any differently, even though how much I was spiraling. It was my soul emerging into who I am today. Like, those mountains were so necessary for me to climb. And so she came out the gate with all this beautiful, like, words, and I was just like, I do appreciate them. I said my apologies too at the time, but I couldn't admit fully to things I have done. I couldn't even think about that. But I told her straight up, I think I was like, I'm not in the space to explore anything right now.
You did, because I remember you saying, like, hey, don't be a stranger, none of that. Like, if you want to grab dinner or something here and there, like, totally I'm down. But then you said, like, outside of that, like, I'm not in the space to...
Yeah.
To
connect have the connection
to connect
we did.
And have, like, a really deep friendship. And I was just like... Mia, if I'm being honest, I think that would be fake of us if we jumped back into that.
I do remember you even saying that, because that was real. That was so real. Cause
I said that'd be so fake if we were to just jump back into this like nothing happened. I remember saying, at the end of the day, I don't know if I'm ever going to speak to you or see you again, but it did not sit right with me to...
have this bad blood.
To have the bad blood. I was like, at the end of the day, if we never see each other again... I want to know we ended on a good foot. And, like, if I see you around, I can see you with no qualms. Nothing there. And for a while, when I saw you around after my birthday and then, like, we saw each other at the local bars and stuff, bro, we would cheers each other's cups without even looking at each other.
And keep it moving. Yeah.
That's all we did.
It was cordial, but,
That's crazy to think about now.
No, I have such clear memories literally. That reminded me, though, but, like, talk about a full circle moment of, like, just establishing boundaries and edging and so softly and slowly working your way back into a relationship the same way you did with Matt. It was, like, the same way we did that. It was so... Because, like, we're from a small town. You're bound to run into each other.
Oh, yeah.
And I would hang out with Aunt every other blue moon. Like, it was very, very fair. And then the girl I was also friends with at the time that I met through Nick, who she was friends with for years, would also still be really close to them. And then eventually came a period where I had to do the hard thing and let go of a friend because it just wasn't good for my mental health. It wasn't good for hers, the emotional well-being. Where immediately, within the next month, catapulted our friendship kind of to work its way back into each other, which I think it's so weird because, like, you look at it in spiritual terms. And I have a very firm belief of how I believe this world works, and I stick to it. I never force it onto anyone else, but I have this understanding of how the universe is funny, man. Like, you close one door and another door opens. It's like it's
got the sense of humor like
no other.
Nobody else.
Yeah. It's like you close one door and another one opens because it knew at the time that wasn't supposed to be a part of it. Like, that other leg, it was only supposed to be 2 legs, and then... Eventually, end of December or January after New Year's.
Because, no, you know what it was? I was hanging Maddie, Matt's friend from college, and her boyfriend. Well, he wasn't really around because he was doing work stuff and he travels for work for long periods at a time. So he wasn't around at the time, but he will be eventually. She had just moved to our town, and I had gotten so close to her so quickly because we had that common denominator of our boyfriends are in the same
line of work.
Yes. And
wait, you see how we just finish each other's sentences, bro? Like, it doesn't get more soulful than that.
Man. Yeah, there you go. And honestly, I had confided in Maddie about
our connection.
Yeah, about the connections that I think at the time weren't working out, which regards to, like, other people who weren't even mentioned, and then like bringing you up, and she was like, swear to God, she was the one to say, like, hey man, out of everything you've told me, I think it's worth giving another shot. Yeah, and then so that was, she moved here around she moves October.
Yeah,
she came here in October. And I remember one of the nights we were hanging at her house, just me and her, and to word it simply, we were like, hey, we're doing witch stuff.
Yeah, no, you told Aunt to hit me up, too. Yeah, because Aunt hit me up, was like, yo, Nicole and her friend Maddie are playing with the cards. They want to know if you wanted to pull through. And I think I was, like, busy that night, but I was like, Thursday, pull up to...
The bar.
Yeah, and, like, we can all hang and shit. Yeah. It was like, Aunt was kind of like a buffer, too.
He really was.
Shout out Aunt, my boy.
So, it honestly, even with that happening, it still took some time for us to come together again in person. And then once we had that time, Aunt told me, he was like, hey, Mia and I are going to the bar. Like, I think he said, like, you invited me that night. Or
yeah,
like,
I said, bring Nicole, yeah.
And immediately, we got to the bar. We went to the back room. And, you know, we had... It wasn't even awkward at all. It was like we hugged, we dapped each other up. What's up, man? How's it going? We grabbed some... It wasn't even like we were drunk talking because we were, like, half of a drink in, we sat down next to each other, and
we picked up like we never left off.
I literally looked at you, and I was like, all right, I know this information. If you're comfortable enough with sharing it with me, can you tell me about this situation, about this person that happened with you and this person? And she was just like,
boy,
let me tell you everything.
Let's get into it.
And literally, it turned into an every Thursday thing, and then it was like right from there. Let me go into the Snapchat because I screenshot it. I read this to you before.
Yeah, so right after that, I was like, yo, come over next weekend. Let me do Reiki on you. Like, and we can just shoot the shit, just us now.
You got the certification when we weren't talking.
Yeah.
So once
you came over, I did the Reiki. We were just hanging out like old times, getting into these intimate conversations that were still really hard. I remember even in the back of my mind, sitting on the floor of my mom's room where I do the Reiki, telling you about certain situations. I'm like, dude, can I even say this? Like, do I trust you? I'm like, no, Mia, like, feel the fear and do it anyway. Like, what do you have to lose? Like, at this point, there's nothing to it. Just do it. Like, this is how you rebuild and repair. And then Aunt came over. We were all just hanging out, talking. And then you left. You sent me a message. And then Nicole's about to read because she screenshots it like her cancer self does.
Yeah, because I just feel like this was a message where what I sent and what I got back, it was like something I wanted to save and I wanted to have it to look back on because it was like, oh my God, it was like one of those, it felt so good to be home again type of feelings. So this was after we had gotten home from the bar, and I said, forgot to text you, but we're home. Thank you again for the session. It was a beautiful experience, and thank you for having me today. It was such a good time with a white heart. And then
that's my shit. I love the white heart.
I do love it.
We're getting that teal heart. Oh, I'm gonna start using that. You know, that's my shit.
Are we getting the baby pink one?
I don't think so. I don't think yet. Because everyone on Twitter was like, all we want is the baby pink heart. We don't need another pink heart. Bono agrees. That's my tenant's dog, if you hear him.
So then you responded, awesome. And of course, I'm glad you came, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for us and the gang again. A piece has been missing for such a long time from me, and I feel like I finally found it. Much love, Nick. White heart, pouty face.
Yeah.
And then I reacted with that to like with a heart on it. And I was just like,
on my end,
man, that was
after going through what I went through alone, it really put in perspective of like, you don't know what you have until you lose it. And that's exactly what I felt in that moment, sending that text. I'm like, dude, after everything we've been through and after the bullshit,
that's the one.
Like, it really was like, I'm down to ride, I'm down to figure this out. And like, all right, again, we're walking into another, like, Nick was walking into another relationship not knowing, like, is this going to work out? Is this the right path? And I'm working out, like, I'm so hurt right now, and I have nobody. I don't have anything left to lose, but I feel like I do. And that's where it comes down to, like, where I can sit here and say, like, I'm so proud of us. I'm proud of the woman you've become. I'm proud of the shit.
Proud of you too.
Thank you. Of, like, dude, that's so hard. I feel like you see it nowadays, like, especially on, like, TikTok and Instagram, those reels of, like, people exposing their friends for doing some shady shit. And, like, don't get me wrong, there are some boundaries that I think if we crossed, there wouldn't be any coming back from. But luckily, it wasn't that bad of a relationship. But to sit with ourselves and do that introspection to realize, like, yo, I had something good here. It's worth fighting for.
At the time, it felt like the end of the world. It was like, damn, this is some deep shit that I'm going to have to do a lot of reflecting on if this is someone that I want to trust again. But I've seen the love that she pours into her work, herself, the people around her, and I know her actions were never meant to hurt me. It was just, it was honestly, this may sound backwards, but like, it was just from a place of love. And it's like, well, how do you say it was from a place of love if you got hurt? And it was just, like the saying goes, like, all's fair in love and war. And it was like, at the same time, it's like, I said this to you too, it was like, who am I to hold you back from experiencing someone that, like, I didn't share the same connection with? Like, sure, me and that person were connected first, but like, if at this point, like, it's nothing to me, like, I'd rather have you than at the end of the day to say, well, I had this person first.
Yeah.
And
no,
that's
agreed.
that.
Yeah. It's so crazy, man. It's so crazy. And here we are. and the stew together. I'm so happy. Dude, I was thinking, like, I really wanted to talk about this, but I wasn't sure if you're going to be comfortable enough. But then I'm like, nah, she'd be all right. Because, like, we've come so far, and I think it's such a beautiful story we both share. And that right there just cemented in a foundation for us. Because since then, we've had maybe like 1 or 2 strifes where it felt so personal again between, like, the both of us of, like, coming for each other. But the way we navigate it and dance beautifully through each of those moments, I'm like, dude, if I'm going to fight with anybody, we're both going to wind up in the hospital, but we're both going to be holding each other hands. Like, it's crazy. Like,
literally.
It's some good stuff. So ever since then, it's been history. It's been about a year and like 2 months.
Which is crazy because I said this to you before we
started,
I was like, my concept of time, like, I feel like we've been friends forever. Mm-hmm. And even having such a long break, a really deep and bad break between us, it feels, I don't even think about that. It's not even a thing. And, like, honest to God, we talk about this stuff now and we laugh. Yeah, you gotta, man.
No, we're looking at each other with some dumbass faces right now. So yeah, and then we wound up going away on a dope ass trip that we're actually doing again to down the shore. I can't wait. And
deep down the shore for a good time.
Yeah, baby.
Oh yeah.
And we had a great time this summer. We went on a couple more trips.
And obviously, you know, movies are coming out.
Yeah.
Well, once we figure out how to, if we put them up.
Soft launch it.
Yeah.
If it's a vibe or not. We might want to keep it for ourselves, gatekeep those memories. But
maybe we'll do viewing parties at the house.
Yeah. No, I'm dying, bro. I'm saying this all the time. Like, I would love to vlog and, like, actually put it out there. I just need everyone on the same board.
Oh, yeah.
Because all of it, like, some of us have some, like, real professional jobs and stuff.
Yeah. No, I get you.
And it's just, like, professional security shit. Like, let's be real. And, yeah, and, like, bro, it's crazy. Because, like, if you listen to the first episode, Nick goes in how we had, like, a demo episode kind of that we just turned on, shot the shit. And I was talking about fear because of how hard it's been for me to step on the podcast at some times because I had this fear of, like, that one time in May after I tore my ACL where I'm projection and I'm using people who hurt me as motivation. I'm like, I don't want to come from that space again, but something that's actually really rooted in me. It's been taking active progress to get it out. And she was like, yo, we got to go into, like, the story of it. And I'm sitting here thinking today I would not be here without Nick because she's really been picking me up through some low moments of just trying to navigate it. For those out there, that 111, as I'm looking at how long we've been talking. For those out there who, like, when I say this, you'll understand what I mean. When you have a calling to do something, when you have a burning purpose inside your heart, no matter how many times you walk away and you think this isn't for me, I could probably do something easier, you keep coming back to it. There's no turning that off. It's going to keep knocking. The universe is going to keep calling, and you can decline it, but it's still going to be there. And I know this is where I'm supposed to be, but I wouldn't be able to do it just by myself. And I think that was a huge lesson that this whole connection from the past brought to me is that I don't want to do this alone.
Yeah.
What's the point of having...
I said this in the first episode that we restarted or whatnot, but this dream that truthfully 100% started as Mia's. This was her whole entrepreneurial spirit that she wanted to do this, and then it just so quickly turned into, like,
a family project.
Group love. Yeah. Family projects, family ideas. And it's like, I remember the Cancer full moon, so, like, if you follow the astrology and, like, the moon phases like that was the beginning of January
2023.
Yes, this year. We're sitting at my house and it's just me and her. We got our laptops, we have our binders, notebooks, pens, all that, and we're talking, you know, vacations and little trips we want to take, and then we go right into the podcast. And I graduated May of last year, May 2022, and I have my degree in business, and that's, like, the field that I want to go into, like marketing, communications, tech, you know,
social media,
stuff of that realm. And it just was so fitting where, you know, she immediately was just like, all right, bet I have these ideas, I'm gonna toss them to you, and then, you know, you work your magic on it. Let's do this together. Let's do this thing together. And, like, honestly, not that it's been many at this point, but like any interviews that I've had, I mention it. I swear to God, I mention it, and I say we have this this project that we're working on, this business that we want to grow, and that's also a role that I've taken over, which is drafting the marketing ideas and content, and it's a great feeling when it all comes from love, because I go into these interviews, the places that I do interview at, it's a place of love. Like, I'm getting the interviews where it's like, hey, if this works out, I love this idea of this company, and then I come home and I have my time, and then we do this. Like, when we have time,
it's a labor of
great.
love.
It really, everything is just like a labor of love, and it's so fulfilling. Honestly, is the best word when it comes from love.
Yeah, I'm excited to do this. Like, just with the gang, they've been motivating me. Nicole, Aunt, Matt, my cousin Jen, Marco, who we didn't even mention, but he is a main player that'll be on this podcast shortly. Don't you worry, Baby Mars. If you haven't heard of him, go check him out. Toledo,
Matt.
Yeah, Matt.
I'm sure he'd have some great stuff to share.
Yeah, and my friend Miss Mel too. Like,
I can't wait to have her on here.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like a 3-hour long episode. We're gonna do a
girlies episode. Yeah. This year or last year by no means was easy at all, but I look back to when I was alone, and I humble myself and I ground myself in so much gratitude for being able to have people around me. There is this song by Jordan Davison, and it's called By Dirt, and I think the lyric goes something like, find the one you want to be with and settle down, something like that, or find the one that matters. And I'm like, I found the ones that matter. These are the people that I'm taking to the finish line with, and these are the people that I do it for. I mentioned on a few other podcasts, when I first started, it was because, like, this is the way out. Like, I can get a lot of money from it, hopefully one day. I mean, I'm not pulling shit from it right now, but that's...
This right here is just the labor of love.
Yeah, it's literally love and service.
It's 11 o'clock now.
For the last 4 hours.
We spent hours down here.
Yeah.
I have this piece of paper. I literally wrote down everything that we wanted to talk about for completely free.
Yeah.
Right now, just sharing this story of our history and hardships in the multiple relationships that we talked about. And we're doing this for free, baby.
Yeah, love and service. And I just think, like, I know one day somewhere I'm going to get everything to pay off, and I'm not going to forget about the ones who also helped me when I was down as well. Like, oh, she got the cards out. Ace of Swords, baby.
Fresh mind, baby. Fresh ideas.
Communication. I love that. That's a good vibe, a new beginning in that. And I'm so excited to be here. I can't wait to get the other people on this podcast so you know my family and you get to know them well, because they are all personalities and characters and wonderful souls in themselves. So
I can't wait to get not the blooper episodes, but just us talking.
Yeah, that's gonna be a vibe.
Oh man,
when we go up the country, I'm bringing the mic and we're gonna shoot the shit across the bonfire. So that's gonna be a vibe. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna wrap this episode up. Excuse me.
If you took the time out of your day, whether you're at the gym, in a car ride, in your room, whatever it may be, if you're listening to this.
You're at work, I respect it. Do it on the company's time.
We appreciate you listening.
Yeah, from the bottom of my soul and Nicole's, it means the world. And if
Absolutely.
you like this, if you feel inclined to do so, if you don't, that's okay too. You can share it, you can like, you can leave a star, a review, a comment.
You know what? Even if you hated it, let us know.
Yeah, all press is good press.
Leave that 1 star and tell us how goofy we sounded. And you know what? We'll sound goofier the next episode.
Yeah.
We can always one-up you.
Yeah. Facts. Absolutely. Yeah, if you want to share it on Instagram, you want to come and follow us and hang out, see what we're doing on the day-to-day, you can follow at the SoulWave Podcast. That is the podcast Instagram. And at Mia.Cremaldi for my personal. Nick, go ahead, let the people know where they can find you.
At Nicole F. Greco.
And yeah, anything else you guys may need, you can check out the description box below. And that is it. So we will catch you on the next wave. Bye.